Hey guys, welcome back to part number 4 of my 72nd scale Academy Growler kit build. Last week we did painting and we struggled with those enamel paints and the long drying times. This week we move it on, we get the decals on and we do some weathering. Not going to be too much weathering, just a simple pan line wash, just purely because this is a special kind of livery to mark the centennial of the US Navy, so it's not going to be caked in dirt and that kind of stuff. It'll be kept pretty clean. So we're not going to go crazy with weathering. I know it's a change for me, but we'll just do it subtly. But hey, let's go ahead and go down the bench and get started. Okay, welcome to another episode. So we're past the frustrations and challenges of the enamel paints and now into decal stage. Really enjoy doing decaling. For me, the turning point was doing some rally cars like the Tamiya, Super Impreza, those kind of cars. Tons of decals, and really teaches you as an aircraft modeler how to put decals down and how to use them. So if you can learn things all different genres, if you haven't branched off to other genres, I definitely encourage you to do so. Like I say, it really helps your skills in other areas. So going back to this one, so how my strategy here is, typically you have these are aftermarket decals, which are the main ones, and then you go with the kit decals for the stencils. So you're kind of doing a hybrid solution. This is luckily, this set actually comes with the, sorry, put the right one. You can actually comes with all the little stencils and stuff in the right color for the blue scheme we got here. So we don't need these. So these just can go in the spares bin. So it makes things a little bit easier. Okay, game plan. How I do approach this is I start with the big decals first, and then work on my little guys afterwards. So I get the big main ones on first. That's just the way I like to do things. Often if I have a lot of decals, with a pen or a highlighter, I'll just check off as I do each one so I keep track of it. This isn't too bad. There's probably there's probably about 40 in the whole thing, if that. There's not many at all. Unlike a Phantom, which has like 350 decals. So this should be pretty straightforward. This is 2 bobs again. So I'm going to decal, just show you like one to how I do it, and then all the rest are going to be the same. You don't need to sit through and bore you for hours to me doing all these decals. So going back to my game plan, I like to do the bigger ones first, and I like to do it in little stages. I like maybe 30-40 minutes at a time, walk away, come back the following day or later that day and do a little bit more. Also, if you're working in tight areas, I work on 1 or 2, let those really bed down for 10-20 minutes and stick, and then come back with more decals. The last thing I want to do is go ahead and put another decal on and then start knocking this with my hand and ripping it, or being klutzy as I am. So just kind of be aware of your surroundings. You know, if you're working on this area of the aircraft, maybe go to the other side and work on that one, that kind of stuff. So that's pretty much it. So I really enjoy decaling, like I said. It really makes the thing pop. So as you can see here, just compared to the normal one, just got a couple of those decals on already. It's starting to look really cool. On this kit, the one way to tell, you can make sure you got, because we haven't attached these, and make sure you got the right side on, are the these kind of raised bits right here on the outside. There's none on the inside, so that's how you know which one's left and right. Otherwise, I'd recommend you mark it somehow so you don't accidentally put them on the wrong side, because that would be a disaster. So quite busy this one. So we put the main decal on first, and we put the 55 on. We're going to have a slime line going down here, and then we've got white kind of separate decals over these bumps at the top here. So I'm going to go ahead and do a slime line to kind of show you what I'm doing, and then we'll move on from there. So I cut it out right here, and I got my bowl of water. Now, this varies in time, each decal set, but what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to dip it in there. I just leave it in for a few seconds, take it out on my plastic mat, and just leave it. And that's it. A lot of people leave it soak in the water longer, but you don't need to. As long as that paper's wet, that's all you need to do. Now, having put these first couple of decals on, I know that these come loose pretty quick. They're ready to go within seconds. I just recently watched a mini craft kit, and those ones took about 5 to 10 minutes to go off. So really just was patient. So just try one out, see how it goes, and then just, if it's not moving, just leave it and walk away, come back. If you're going to try to kind of force it off the paper, you're just going to rip it, all that kind of stuff. So my Decor Solutions are the old faithfuls, set and settle. You've seen before, I mentioned every video, 1 and 2, because I get confused. You think Soul should be first and set, but it's the other way around. So blue is number 1, and Soul goes number 2. So number 1 is basically just to make sure it sits down nicely, and then once that's really kind of dry for a few minutes, you come on with number 2, and that really kind of makes it suck down over all that detail. So when you see kind of, say, a wing, and you can see the decal really kind of stretch over all the panel lines, and really kind of sink it looks like it's painted rather than kind of a sticker on top, that's what number 2 does. So things to note with these guys are to just be very small amount goes a long way. Don't hose it on because it might affect your paintwork and create tide marks and stuff. So just a little bit, all you need. You're not going to see it so good on the camera. My slime line runs right here over this decal. So just tiny little bit I put on, and then I'm just going to pick it. Now I know this one's gone off already. I'm just going to pick it up with my tweezers. I'm using, this is one of the best tools I have, the Tamiya decal tweezers. These things are awesome. They're flat bladed. I couldn't do anything without them. Really good. So I kind of just, it's hard for me to see here on the camera. It's right there's the line. So I'm just going to take it off camera so I make sure I line this up before it sticks. It's hard to see, really. I think it's something like that. Let's look at my... And I think if you're going decal over decal, just make sure, again, this is dried for a good few minutes before you put one on top of it. So that's on like that. I'm going to let that dry. So I'm going to let it dry for about 5 minutes. Just make sure it's not moving and it's kind of stuck down. When it comes back, same thing, come with the red number 2, which is the micro sole. And I'm just going to, again, not hose it on, just very light on the brush, just rub it all over my decals. And then it's going to just really kind of suck it in and let it go. And then about an hour, it's going to be done. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off. I got, like I say, got a couple of little bits on top of here of the tail. I've got a couple of little stencil marks to do. I'll get this fully decaled up. And then once that side's done, I'll go ahead with the number 2, the micro soles I mentioned, and kind of put that on. And then that side is done. According to instructions here, I have nothing on the inside of the tails, just the outside. So that's how I do my decals. I don't going to bore you for hours where I go through every single one. So I'm going to go ahead and carry on the rest of the jet, and we'll come back once it's decaled and talk about the next stage, which will be the weathering. Right, I'm back for a quick update. I'm halfway through and doing decals. I've got the big ones on and just a couple little things. Really is the stars and bars right here is a lot confusing. So these decal instructions have no numbers at all. It's just a sheet of decals with no numbers on them. So naturally I thought that, as most of the case, you put the bigger ones on the wing and a smaller one go on the side. But on this scheme, it's actually the opposite. So the big ones go on the side, and then on the bottom and the top are the smaller ones. So just if you're doing a scheme, just be careful with that. I put the wrong ones on, but luckily it hadn't stuck. It'd been a few minutes, but I could just get my tweezers under, pull it off, and switch it. So saved a big problem there. So let's say big decals are on, looking pretty good. Some reason I lost the masking tape on top of my canopy. I don't know how that happened, but I put another piece on just for the clear coat after this, to make sure we don't damage the canopy, which I'm a little bit nervous about because obviously we had a lot of bleed on this masking tape, so I'm fingers crossed, hopefully when we take this off the canopy's not ruined, so we won't know to the very end. But yeah, gone through, as you can see, put on all the main decals. Be careful when I touch this, I don't want to knock them. I just got rid of the stencils and stuff to go on. Tails are done. Now, when you're talking about these little tiny, like riding and 70-second scale, these guys, I don't bother with Decal Solution for that. I just go ahead and just throw them straight on there. It's not needed. These things are so small, we don't need any kind of setting solutions on that kind of tiny stuff. Just these bigger decals. So yeah, so tails are done, and it's going to start coming together nicely. So if I kind of show you real quick, again, being careful, you kind of see how it's going to look with the light and dark blue with that tail. It reminds me of kind of San Diego Chargers, that like baby blue with the lightning bolt. But yeah, so that's where we're at. So I'm going to let these sit for a while. I'm pretty much done for this session. We're going to let these bed down. I don't want to nudge them or move them. So I'll let this go, and then I'll come back and I'll finish off the rest of these little decals, like a little writing. See all the little writing and all stencil data and stuff. I think it looks like the center fuel tank has these decals on. I think on my scheme, on what I built, I think I have a center pod, so I could look at that. If so, I might need to build and paint a center fuel tank for these decals on the middle here. But okay, so let me get on with the rest of these decals, and we'll come back when I'm done. Okay, so making great progress. I've got the pound line wash on and a clear coat. To be honest, I totally forgot to film it, but if you check out any of my other build videos, you'll see exactly how I do it. Went with a grime, clay wash. It didn't really show up so much on the dark blue. Dark blue is notorious for weathering, really hard to weather. So I actually went back and did grey over the top of that on the dark blue surface, just to kind of sort of show up a little bit more. I'm not going to go too back crazy on weathering anymore. I'm not going to do oils because this is a Centennial jet. It's not going to be totally beaten up. So this is pretty much as far as it goes. So I did the washes on the gloss surface, so it came off just starting the pound lines. And then I hit the flat coat, which is the usual, being around my go-to, XF86. Been using this for years and never fails me. So hit the flat coat, and you can see also added the fuel tanks and the pods. Should have a pod in the middle really, but on the looking at the pictures for the decal set, it looks like it just has this center fuel pod, fuel tank, and nothing else on it. So I just went ahead and put these on. It's really big. These aren't glued. They're really big attachment points. So you just kind of click in. Same with the tails. So I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but this is based on the F version, which is a snap tight kit. So you can pretty much build this kit with no glue. It just kind of snaps together, clicks together, minus all like the little aerials and little lumps and bumps and stuff. But the main stuff, you don't need any glue. So this is really designed probably for the kids or people just getting into the hobby, which goes to, the surface details are really nice, but again, it just goes together really well, really easily. So these pylons just kind of literally click in and they just pull right off, and you can switch it all up. So it's really nice actually. So if you went with a normal kind of light dark ghost grey scheme, you probably not even paint it, to be honest with you. I guess it's probably designed, like I say, for the kids. So that's where I'm at with that. And what else? Exhaust nozzles painted. The color in the instructions are completely wrong. It told me to do it silver. I should have known better, but I did go ahead and spray them, the back part at least, with LP48, which is sparkling silver. After which I thought that doesn't quite seem right for Hornet, so I went back and checked my reference, and they are in fact much darker. So what I did was I went back and used, sprayed over top some exhaust metal for MRP, which is MRP 148. First time I've used this color. I've usually I'm stuttering. I usually use Alclad, but I'm almost out, so I thought I'd try something different. So there's the MRP metallic. It came out really nicely. So the mistake actually turned out to be a nice thing. So the silver below actually still shines through the dark color, and it kind of gives a nice tonal effect. So in the end, it turned out to be, a happy mistake, I guess. So they again just slot right in the back. So we're pretty much getting there, really. Just got the gear and the door and that kind of stuff to do. I think now's the stage where we can go ahead and take the mask off the canopy, which I'll do right now. It does make me nervous because I did have some bleed problems with enamel paint, so I'm hoping this canopy isn't ruined. So now's the moment of truth, I guess. So you'll see me right now as I can take this off and see exactly what's underneath here. Some reason some of this did peel off and I had to kind of replace it, which is kind of unusual, but so far so good. I really do like that Tamiya white curved tape for masking canopies. It's just really does a nice job. I say that one piece to go. Hopefully it's so far so good. Looks like we have a little bit of here just to kind of it's like residue or something just to, it comes off my finger just from the back of the tape. And the last piece. Phew. Okay, we're good. Turned out really good. I need just a few little spots just to, actually with my fingernail here just comes right off. Just a few little spots here and there, but overall, yep, really happy how it masked. And again, this has to be canopy down on this. This model doesn't have many options. It's pretty much as it comes, so you can't drop the flaps or anything like that unless you do some scratch building. So there she is with the canopy mask off. Again, looking much better, different and much nicer. So that's kind of where I'm at tonight now. I'm going to wrap this video up. Enough waffling from me. Next week we'll come back and we're going to do those wheels. We're going to do the landing gear and add those nozzles. And that's pretty much done. We'll do a final reveal. This kit is pretty much in the books. So the hard work's done, the paint's on, the decals are on, and the mask is off, and you still see that nice cockpit inside. So there you go. So thank you for watching, as always. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the support. And again, this is Richie from RW Hobbies, and I'll see you next week. Thank you, and goodbye.